Peter Chen is a second-generation Chinese-Canadian who launched his entrepreneurial venture, Tality Kombucha, with a $10,000 student line of credit. What once was a university assignment quickly turned into a full-scale brewery and now Tality Wellness, an industrial-chic sauna and cold plunge experience, which has franchised across Canada. Peter, welcome to THINKSPACE.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. How you feeling being in the seat today?
I feel great. Yeah, a little nervous, but yeah, this is fun. So yeah, thanks a ton for thinking of me and having me.
Of course. Okay, before we started, we were talking a little bit about how being an entrepreneur is personal development on crack. So I'm very interested. Like, you went to university and you took entrepreneurial studies. Like, who were you before all of this?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Big question. So I think when I went to business school, so graduated from high school, applied for UBC Commerce, I didn't know what commerce was really. Mm-hmm. And I would talk to my dad about, what I should do. And he said either engineering or business, but he thought I would do better in business. And I think he was right. But at the time, I didn't even know what business was.
Mm-hmm. What did you think business was then?
I don't even know. I think my thought process was, I think I have the most opportunity to make the most money in business. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was like, sure.
Yeah. You're like, I need some bread.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I didn't like think about it that much, to be honest. I just knew I should go to university and then got into UBC and then started taking courses. Yeah.
And when you started taking those courses, like, what started brewing for you? Like, where did your curiosities go?
Yeah, I really liked the commerce program at UBC, but I think I didn't feel like it's not that I didn't fit in. I just, there's a certain archetype, I think, in the commerce program, and the commerce program, I think, tries to breed a certain archetype.
Can you describe that archetype?
Yeah.
Because I went to school for psych, so very different archetype.
Yeah, they're one to like work for one of the big 5 accounting firms like KPMG, try to get a job on Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, big companies. Like, for example, marketing courses, they're working with $50 million plus budgets, which is not applicable for running a small business. Same with things like finance, like financing $2 million business is different than doing finances for a big development firm. Or large asset management. And like, just to give you another example, it's like, I remember being in the CUS library once, just studying or whatever, and I'm overhearing this conversation across the table, and these kids, they're both trying to get, I don't know, internships at like one big KPMG or something. And they're like, oh yeah, like the execs there, they really like the Canucks. And then the other guy's like, yeah, I do know that. It's like, and then they start quizzing each other on who the starting players for the Canucks were. And they knew the starting players for the Canucks, but only because they knew the executives at the company they wanted to work for were big Canucks fans. And I respect the hustle. I respect that a lot. But yeah, I think I knew early on that my goal wasn't to work for a big Fortune 500 company. So yeah.
Can we double click on that though? Like, okay, so them knowing who the starting players were because it would get them ahead, right?
Yeah.
What did that spark within you, or like, what did that reveal within you? Like, why is that a valuable moment in your journey?
It's not that I didn't, it's not that I looked down on that. In fact, it's the opposite. I actually like really respect that type of hustle, but it's not something that I wanted to partake in. I didn't want to like study the starting lineup for the Canucks team because it might increase my chances of getting an internship at my dream company, So, and also just, I've never been I like hockey, but I'm not, you know what I mean? So
I just feel like I can sense like the I don't know if rebel is the right word, but like the rebellion within you where it's just like, I want to be myself.
Yes, thank you. I think that puts it really well. I just wanted to be myself. So.
Okay, so you want to be yourself, you're growing, and how do we get to this $10,000 line of credit?
Yeah, so I think it was second or third year university. I actually wrote 2 business plans for 2 different courses. I think it was Business Writing 101 and like Entrepreneurial Finances or something. And I wrote business plans for a kombucha business for both of those courses. I'd started brewing kombucha myself. And pretty much just took those plans and started a kombucha company. It was like very bootstrapped, very like, I made a lot of incorrect assumptions. Like I think my original kind of like framework for thinking was, oh, this will be a fun summer side hustle. If I can keep it low overhead, high margin, make like $500 a week, I can just like finish my studies and go climbing on the weekends kind of thing.
And why kombucha?
Well,
And what year are we at? Because there was the kombucha boom. Are we pre-kombucha boom or post?
This was kind of during it. It was 2017 when I started the kombucha. I think the true boom was like 2016, 2015, but it still had some legs to it. But yeah, by like 2018, 19, the grocery market category was plateauing a little bit. So why kombucha? I'd gone in and out of alcohol intolerance. So I didn't drink for like 8 years or something like that because it just got to the point where I'd have one pint, one shot. It didn't matter what kind of alcohol it was. And I get so uncomfortable. Like my skin would feel so flush and like I could feel my heart racing. And I would just like, I'd have one pint and need to go home and like sleep it off. So then maybe I should tell you the story of how I got introduced to kombucha, which is me and my friend Mike, we just finished climbing the apron in Squamish, which is like a climbing thing. We come down from the climb, we go to Horseshoe Bay. My friend's living in his boat and is docked at Horseshoe Bay right now. We go to his boat. It's a beautiful, spring, summer day. And they crack open a couple beers. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't need one. And then my friend, he offers me a kombucha. And I'm like, what's kombucha? And they have a little argument as to whether or not it's even safe to drink because this guy's been like brewing it in his cupboard in his boat that he's been living on.
Yeah.
So he brings out this like amber beer bottle. He's like, it's strawberry flavored. I'm like, okay. So I crack it open and it starts erupting out the bottle.
Yeah.
And then to like save the boat, I like start gulping it down. I get SCOBY bits, strawberry bits, yeast and whatever just down my mouth.
Yeah.
But I honestly liked it off the bat. I loved the sweet, tangy tartness of it. And I liked having being able to drink it while my friends were drinking a beer. So it kind of helped me fit in a little bit. And that's how I got introduced to it. And then, started brewing it. And I think, it was mostly naive assumptions why I did kombucha. I just thought it just seemed like I felt like I could brew it better. It looked like a high margin product, like because it was selling for $5+ a bottle off the shelves, and it's just tea, water, and sugar, right? And
a lot of kombucha has added sugar in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, Oh, geez.
I say this because I went on a sober curious journey. I would say like 4 or 5 years ago, where I actually have always had a sulfate allergy, but I was just dumb and didn't realize that like wine is sulfates.
Yeah.
And so I used to be such a wine drinker. And I was like, okay, I want to kind of wean off this. I want to just wean off of alcohol in general. And so that's when I found kombucha. And then I went on like a sugar cleanse and I was like, oh, like kombucha has so much added sugar. Some of them.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, the kombucha category is interesting. There's so many different ways to brew it because there's such a lack of established, I guess, call it culture around it. Versus beer, everybody knows how to brew beer, what beer is, what a lager is supposed to taste like, what an IPA is supposed to taste like. And then even in Germany, there's like laws against what you can add in your beer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but then for kombucha, there's no precedent. So you have people brewing vinegar and you have people fermenting a sweet tea for 2 days, putting in a shot of acetic vinegar and calling it kombucha. You have people brewing super old cultures and just diluting it with herbal teas, calling it kombucha. So it's kind of like, imagine like if beer just came onto the scene and some people are brewing IPAs, lagers, ambers, stouts, and everybody just called it beer. So somebody who drank a Guinness and would be like, oh, I hate this, but they just don't like Guinness.
Yes. Because when I was trying to figure out what kombucha do I like, all of it tastes so freaking different.
It's all different.
But that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you decide to go for kombucha. What happens next?
Yeah, it was a bit of a slog. I'm not going to lie. I think a lot of my kind of assumptions, the business plans were awful, by the way. Yeah, but they weren't.
How old were you at that point?
I think 19.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
So
20?
I mean, no shade. You're 19.
Yeah. Yeah, was I 19? Yeah, I think I was 19 or 20. Yeah. So started brewing actually in my ex-girlfriend's parents' basement.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is kind of funny. So I was living in a van for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then the van broke down on the way to, like, we were driving to Kamloops or something. It broke down in like wherever, Merritt or something, and we had to like basically throw it out. But I'd lived in that van for 6 months before. It was a Ford Freestar, 2003, I believe.
Yeah.
And then that's when I moved into my ex-girlfriend's basement suite. Her parents like had a house in, I think, Point Grey area. And then we lived in the basement suite below. And they're honestly like so kind and supportive to me. It's actually unbelievable. Like, you know, they pretty much let me live rent-free with them between that house, and they also have another cabin place in Whistler. Between those two places, they pretty much gave me free housing for I think around 18 months. And they also let me brew kombucha in the basement for a long time.
These are like the invisible ROIs of people like that is insane. Like there's so much kindness in that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they know I'm forever thankful. But yeah, so started brewing on the counter in that basement, and then eventually moved to a commissary kitchen in Whistler, and then eventually moved to a commissary kitchen in North Van. And then when I graduated, moved to our own brewery in North Van.
And are you from North Van?
I'm from Delta.
Delta. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So were you living in Whistler for a while?
Yeah, so this was when me and my ex-girlfriend, we were both going to school at UBC. Summer break comes.
Yeah.
She gets an internship up in Whistler.
Yeah.
And then I've just been brewing on her counter. So then I start brewing in a commissary up in Whistler.
Yeah.
And then selling at markets through the summer.
And how is that? Like, I've always wondered, what is it? Because I sometimes do these, like, I actually got this from my girlfriend, Taryn, but she'll kind of just have these little micro weekends where she'll go away and she'll mastermind. And I love going to Whistler to do that. And I'm like, what would it be like to live here for a month? I'm like,
oh yeah, it was great. And honestly, it's kind of funny because like the business side that summer was probably one of the strongest like business, like it was one of the strongest points of the business. Like I'd taken out that $10,000 student line of credit to buy like some pots and stuff. And we paid it off by the end of the summer, which looking back on it is kind of unbelievable.
pretty insane.
Yeah. So it was actually like, it was a lot of hustle. Like I was brewing it all. I was setting up at the markets. I was selling it. I think we'd gotten a couple retail places that summer as well. So it was a lot of work. Not something I'd want to do like forever, but as like a young kid, just living in Whistler for a summer, it was honestly a great gig.
Yeah.
So what was the original question?
The original question was, okay, so you're in North Van now. Thanks for sharing that. You're in North Van now, and you have a space. You got a space. What is this idea at this point? Like, what are you building? What are you creating? What have you learned thus far?
Okay, so this is me in North Van with the kombucha brewery?
Yeah.
Okay, so while the first summer was okay, I kept doing it while studying at UBC. So there were some tough times.
So you signed a lease while you're still in school.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope, yo.
Yeah. No, it was cool.
Betting on yourself hella young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was hard work though. Like I'd go to class all day. It's like some weeks would be going to class all day and then going to the commissary kitchen in North Van and brewing from like 11 p.m. till like 4 a.m. just because that was when the cheapest and available time was in the kitchen, right? So yeah, looking back on it, it was all like a little too optimistic, you know? It was just like the business side didn't make that much sense. I was doing it more because I didn't want to give up and because, I don't know, I just like...
You had the ambition. You wanted to see it through.
Yeah, I wanted to see it through. But yeah, I think so. Where I'm going with this is when I was going to graduate, I actually wanted to sell the kombucha business. So my learning from that was it's a tough business. And unless you are really dedicated to being an owner-operator type, it's hard to make it work.
So then what's the transition? Like, how do you transition from kombucha to Tality?
Yeah. So we had our own brewery in North Van. we're kind of slaving away, like just hard work, you know, just penny pinching at every corner. And the company's not doing that well. Like we're getting into more debt. We're not that profitable. Like sometimes we are, but it's not like going in a good place, right? But we have our own brewery now. Well, at least one. And in this location, which is our current brewery, we had this really cool yard space behind it. And the moment I like saw the yard space, I always thought it was kind of like cool and unique and special. I didn't know what to do with it. But then fast forward after a couple of years of, I'd call turmoil, I was kind of in a state of trying to figure out like what to do. Like, do we close up shop? Do we pivot?
And is it just you at this point?
It's me and Frank.
Yeah.
Frank is my main business partner. So how we got into the brewery was when I graduated, I tried to sell the business and I actually got an offer which is actually pretty cool. It was $100,000 in exchange for 51% of the company. But then a family friend heard about this offer and then gave me a better one. He gave me $100,000 for 49%.
Oh yeah, keep control.
Yeah. So but part of the deal was to start working with another mutual family friend, Frank, who's also a Sauder alumni. Though we weren't friends during the undergraduate program, but we were in the same year and stuff. So that's how we started working together and got into this brewery. But yeah, it just wasn't enough. So at this point, I was like, do we give up? Do I find a job? Like, do I go back to like my Sauder roots and try to like work for Fortune 500?
Do I learn the starting line of the Canucks?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Or do we pivot? So I actually hired a business coach, and this was kind of like the Hail Mary attempt to like figure out what to do. Hired a business coach named Eddie, who's now my main partner in the franchise development. He coached me through this, what I'd call confusing, tough time of figuring out what to do with this. I'll call it a failing company. Like we had some legs, but overall, I'd say you could call it a failing company. How to navigate from that. And yeah, to his credit, he basically talked me out of getting a job in finance or tech and doing this concept that is now the secret spot. And how that came about was I just loved saunas always. I like cold plunging too. Not less so in the therapeutic sense, more so in the I just love diving in some cold water with some buddies. But I was surprised that there wasn't an offering like this in Vancouver already, like a casual social place I could go sauna and cold plunge with friends. Like there were options, but they were all kind of missing the value prop that I was looking for. Like there's Scandinave, but that's like up in Whistler and like $200. And then there's rec centers, which are just a little below the experience that, we were looking for.
Yeah, lots of old men on the walls.
Yeah, and the saunas aren't hot enough. The pools aren't cold, obviously. The steam room doesn't work half the time.
Yeah.
So there's problems with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we decided to give it a go, give the test concept a go. Found the right partners. Did it on a shoestring budget, and a lot of hard work.
Where was your because I feel like life was kind of taking you through school in a different way at this point, where it's like your grit is getting tested, your tenacity is getting tested, your emotional resilience is getting tested. And, to even be able to say like, hey, like I have something, it's failing right now. And let me go find myself some help. Let me get new perspective. Let me shift my mindset. Let me try to get a different perspective in here, right? Now I'm creating something new. Like, was your spirit starting to get reinvigorated? Were you getting excited? Like, what was your vibe?
Yeah. I think my vibe, possible trigger warning here, was do or die, honestly. I was kind of like, if this doesn't turn out, I don't even know what I'm going to do, but it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
So, no, I was excited, and I did always believe in the concept because I just know that saunas and cold plunges are a nice thing to do. It's like it felt really authentic. And I think when things feel authentic, your chances of it resonating with other people is really high. Versus like, I won't get into too many specific, but there's a lot of trends you see come and go. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I was actually just having a call with like a conversation with my girlfriend the other day, and I was like, we talk about like what is your wellness budget all the time, right? And I have cold plunge in my wellness budget no matter what, because I was like, I don't think that it's something that will shift because of once you experience the benefits of it, you're just like, it makes sense.
Yeah, it
You
just
know what I
makes
mean?
sense.
It
like,
just makes
innately.
sense. Yeah.
And you can prove it with data too, just looking at all the different cultures and history and how they've almost all had their own form of sauna cold plunge type modality. So I felt confident, but I was also, it was just a hard time. Like I think I was just so in the thick of it. I didn't have time to like reflect or feel excited. It was mostly just head down grinding, 80, 100-hour weeks. Cause I was like, other than the sauna, I'd pretty much built, the secret spa myself. And like, we were going through some changes in the brewery too. We were switching to cans, we getting new equipment in. So there's just a lot to manage and deal with there, which is kind of funny. Like looking back on it now, I'm like, I put myself through hell for like 2 months just because we didn't have a lot of money. But, looking back at it now, like if I'd gone and like raised, raising money is always more difficult than people say. But if I just gone and raised like another 25, 30 grand, I would have probably saved 20 years of my life, Not actually, but I would have saved a lot of stress. So it's funny
thinking about like all that stress, you like with the vantage point that you have now, was it worth it?
It's a good question. I mean, like, I think I learned a lot about myself, and like I think there's something to be said about going through hard things and having walked the walk to,
What are those things that you learned about yourself?
I think I didn't learn, like really get clarity on this till later, but I think my clarity that I got later kind of stemmed from this experience, which is, I think I'm like naturally just more inspired by starting and building things than operating and like kind of tweaking. And I see myself as more of a founder entrepreneur than like an operator. So, and is that a good answer?
Totally. I get that. There's like, actually, I'm a coach as well. And back in the day, I used to do startup consulting. So just helping people start up their digital enterprise, like get your website together, get your social together, get your branding messaging together. Because I loved that part of it. But then that little refinement stuff, it's like you have to go through it to know what to refine. I just recently watched The Founder. Have you ever watched that movie? It's about McDonald's.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I've watched the McDonald's movie, but I don't know if it's the same one.
Yeah, where it's like the salesman and he like basically franchises the whole company.
Yeah.
So like even how he was like, yo, like if we get these milkshakes and they're powder, then we can scale in a different way. I'm like, that is not necessarily always my area of expertise, but I can definitely like make things go. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's totally different skill sets.
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts about that, but yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So you build this, 80 to 100 hours a week, it opens. How was the response?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. We made a lot of mistakes, obviously. But the customer experience was still good, but it was more like we didn't have an ice machine or laundry machines when we first opened. So we were like buying thousands of dollars worth of ice and paying for thousands of dollars of outsourced laundry. But aside from those like operational kind of back-end stuff, it went great. Like within a month, we were booking out about a month in advance. So the intuition was obviously right. Like people wanted something like this. Yeah.
So that was your first location. And then I think North Van was your next one, right? Shipyards? Yeah. So how do you go from one location to 2 locations?
Yeah. Sorry, I want to say one more thing about the secret.
Yeah.
Which is, so the intuition was right. We did well out the gate. But it's just funny thinking about it now because a lot of people didn't think it was a good idea. Because if you like really like try to break it down too much, we have a trailer sauna. So like a sauna built in a trailer with metal farm trough tubs with some ice in them and like a little turf patio with like chairs from Wayfair or whatever, you know? It was like and it's in an alleyway behind a brewery in the middle of nowhere. It's like beside Park and Tilford in North Van.
It's definitely in the middle of nowhere. I remember the first time I went there, I was like, where am I going?
Yeah, middle of nowhere, literally beside a dump, like literally beside a recycling center.
Yeah.
So, and then when I talked to some friends to get like their opinion on it, I think one friend said they wouldn't pay more than $6 to go because they could just go to the rec center instead. Another person was like, I don't really want to sit shoulder to shoulder in the back of an alleyway in a sauna in a weird spot. So yeah, it's just funny to think about how it didn't seem like an obviously good idea, but intuitively I just like kind of knew like people wanted something like this.
So what were some of like the first good responses that you were getting that were like, okay, I'm on the right track?
Oh, I mean, it was pretty immediate. It was pretty immediate, like just from the bookings and people coming and experiencing it. And I think people like the rustic charm of it. So, yeah. But then, so to go on to your last question, which is how to get from secret to shipyards, pretty simple process. Like we were doing pretty well. So we were able to get some bank loans. Frank, my partner who I'd mentioned before, he invested a bit of his money. He was co-owners of Levels nightclub, just in case you didn't know that. So yeah, and then we found the lease, got the bank loans, built it out, made so many more mistakes, but yeah, that's how we got there.
And how did it how are you feeling about this business and growing it at this point?
I felt good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I felt good. I think Secret was always meant to be kind of a test proof of concept. I felt like we got that. And I knew that we could just do it a little bit bigger and a little bit better.
Yeah. Secret wasn't the first one that I went to. It was Shipyards. I loved it. I think I used to go a lot in the early days, and I loved going at like the 1 or 2 p.m. slot because no one else was there.
Yeah.
But I'm very like when I go into a sauna, I'm very insular. And so I don't get like chatty. So I think that's why I liked it, because I was just like, even if there's another person there, like then I don't feel like I have to talk to them.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Like the Wayfair chairs, the fire pit, like everything. Like I felt like it was just this like, sometimes me personally, I don't always want to go to a spa and like get a massage. I just want to chill and lounge and like get like refreshed in some type of way.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't always have time to drive all the way to Whistler. No. And I'm so brown. I'm like, yo, if I'm going to Scandav, I'm staying there all day. Yeah. That shit is expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I thought I remember just being like, wow, this is amazing. I threw my birthday party there. Like I just loved Tality. Okay, so you have this beautiful thing that you've built, and now, like when we're speaking today, like there's so many other saunas and cold plunges popping up. Like, can you walk somebody through like who's maybe never gone to a cycle? What is a cycle, like a hot cold cycle, and what is the value of it?
Okay. Yeah, so hot cold cycling, I think like the messaging we try to stand behind is there's no like right or wrong way to do it. So I'll start with our general prescription, which is you come in, we supply your towel and your robe and your flops. You just bring your bathing suit. You come in, you rinse off in the shower. Recommend starting with a cold plunge. So being bold and starting cold, just for 1 to 5 seconds. It's just one of those things. You have to try it. You'll know what I mean when you try it. It's just a great way to start your session. You feel refreshed, you feel connected to the space and time around you. And then you go into the sauna. You do anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes in the sauna, or just until you get uncomfortable, and then maybe a little bit more. You want to like try to push yourself a little bit. You don't always have to. So again, this goes back to like your physiology, your goals, what you're trying to get out of it. But yeah, like I said, we're talking the general prescription right now.
And why is it good to push yourself a little bit? Because I've heard things like, yo, there's like very viral videos about like if you stay in a sauna, like you can add years to your life. Is that true?
I mean, the data suggests so. Okay, so how I like to answer these is I like to reference what the literature suggests, but then also add a little bit of humanization or personal opinion to it. So like what the literature suggests is the more you sauna, the less chance you have of dying, essentially. Like literally decreased mortality across everything, especially in cardiovascular related stuff. So the study I'm referring to, it was like a Finnish study where they tracked people who saunaed once a week versus 2 to 3 times a week versus 4 to 5 times a week. People who saunaed 4 to 5 times a week had like a 50% decrease in all-cause mortality, something crazy like that. There's a lot of bones to pick in that study, as with every study. But yes, overall, there's lots of literature and data suggests that sauning is good for you. And why we encourage people to push themselves, that one I think comes more from personal opinion and just the self-experience from it. You just feel good. Like if you like get a little bit uncomfortable in the sauna and then you stay a little bit longer and then you get out, you rinse, you do a little cold plunge, you step outside in the lounge with a drink, you're going to feel euphoric. It just feels amazing. And if I could try to link that to maybe some more like scientific stuff, there's a lot of like literature that suggests like when you're like pushing yourself in the sauna, you're exercising your cardiovascular system without putting strain on your, whatever you want to call it, exoskeleton, muscles, tissues, whatever. And then there's also different studies that show like, think of like a ketchup bottle. Like when the ketchup bottle is full, it's really easy to squeeze out the ketchup. When the ketchup bottle is less full or is more liquidy, it's harder to squeeze out the ketchup. Your blood is the same way. So when you have like blood with a lot of plasma, think of the gooey stuff in ketchup, it's easier for your heart to pump blood through your body. And there's been studies that shown that sauna and pushing yourself in the sauna can increase that plasma stuff. So
that is so cool.
Yeah. So your body literally just gets more efficient at moving blood around your body. And then if I get a little more esoteric, then that connects to a lot in Eastern medicine with circulation and chi flow and whatever.
We're all esoteric here.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have one more personal take on that as well, which is I actually tore my ACL skiing, and I was supposed to get the surgery for it, but I didn't because I just, honestly, I felt better by the time I was supposed to get the surgery. And I would just kill myself at the UBC steam room in the hot tub. And I just like would sit in the steam room and just absolutely die in there, like to the point of like, I'm going to pass out. Like the next person that walked in the door, I had to stay in longer than them. Like it was non-negotiable.
I know, it's such an ego thing, right?
Yeah, it's an ego thing, but I kind of love it. You don't have to do it, but
you kind of need it. It's competitive.
And I would just imagine like my blood flow, like going to the parts of my body that don't get a lot of blood flow, like your tendons in your knee. And then I would just imagine, like visualize like my blood like healing my knee. And I swear it like made a difference. I don't know.
I believe in that so much. Even just the fact that you're visualizing it, right? You're putting intention and energy to that part of your body. That is so cool.
Yeah.
So then adding the cold plunge, like how does that all fit into this cocktail?
Yeah. Sorry, one more. Okay, so this is related. One more interesting study about sauning. They did a test with a group of, I think, males, probably males. And they would get them to sauna like really intensely, like I think 20 or 30 minute cycles of like 80 or 90 degrees, like back to back. And they found some crazy stat, like 16x growth hormones were in their body, but there was no cold plunge. So where I'm going with this is there's actually not a lot of literature around sauna and cold plunging. There's a lot for sauna and a lot for cold plunging, but not a lot for the cycling. So where the cold plunge fits in, I think first and foremost, it just feels really good. I think after getting a good sauna push and rinsing off in the shower and going in the plunge, you feel great. Yeah. Don't do it too intensely because you can like feel a little woozy after. Like ease into it. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. And then, if you just Google cold plunge benefits, there's going to be a million articles on it. Yeah.
There's a lot of content that I've been seeing lately that like cold plunging for women and men is different. Yeah. What would you say to that? Like, why is it different?
I think it kind of makes sense. Again, it's kind of like my take on all these things is like the literature will suggest something. You can probably pick a bone at it. You can probably find conflicting sources, and then use that to help influence your final, personal and humanized opinion on it. So, yeah, I think just like start like high level, like everybody's different. So like, yeah, I guess it makes sense how women, especially in different parts of their cycle, might react differently to cold plunging. Like that just kind of makes intuitive sense. So,
and do women, like, can they get the same results with like less cold water?
some say.
Yeah.
Again, I think it just depends on you and your physiology and what you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah. What I'm hearing from you is like, because I have gone so many times. It's like I'll go with different girlfriends, right? And some of my friends will get very sick after the cycle. And versus me, like I almost go when I'm not feeling well and I will feel 10 times better, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is like you have to have a sense of understanding of your own body and be in tune with yourself.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. I think that was a great way to put it. I think, the key to any wellness endeavor is to be in tune with yourself, which can be hard. And it's actually interesting you mentioned the people getting sick. So that is a thing. It's because the sauna and the cold plunges are stressors ultimately on your body. So, and there's an interesting, it's not I don't know if you'd call it phenomenon, but it's a known thing where if you have a period of high cortisol levels and then you relax after, you're way more susceptible to getting sick. And I find that with myself too. If I have a period of hard work and stress and then I finally get a moment to relax, say after an intense hot cold cycle to like cap off the month or something, you get sick because your cortisol was protecting you for that time of high stress. And then now that it's gone, it's not blocking whatever is trying to like attack you pretty much. So that's
so all your defenses are kind of chilled out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fascinating. As you're saying that, I'm actually thinking of somebody who's like, when their cortisol is really high and once he gets like some time to just chill out, always gets sick.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Oh, that's so fascinating.
Similar logic with the hot cold cycling. You're stressing your body and then you feel, and then everything kind of lets go after, and then you can get sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the inverse, I'm like you actually. So when I get a little bit sick, I'll sometimes purposely try to sweat it out in the sauna, but also drink a ridiculous amount of water and electrolytes.
Same. Yeah.
And I find that helps me like sweat out whatever I have. But again, to each their own, listen to your body.
Yeah. You almost have to do some like testing with your own body to really see like where you fit in.
Yeah.
There's a few places I want to take this conversation, but like what's really like springing up for me right now is like you are creating a space. Like even like earlier you're talking about, hey, like the kombucha journey started a lot from drinking doesn't work for me, right? And so you wanted to create an experience for yourself where you were a part of the experience. Now you're creating wellness spaces where you're getting people at such different zones of their life, such different places, energies, vibes. Like, how has it been creating community in a wellness space in a city like Vancouver, also during a time where I would say that like we all really needed community?
Yeah, honestly, it's been awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's freaking sick. I hate, just to preface this, I hate the idea of quote unquote creating community. So I try not to think in that framework. I'd
Tell
rather.
me why.
I just think it's at the root of it, it feels a bit cringe. I think every business or organization always like shouts from the rooftop, like, we're building community, come find your community here. And I think when you think like that, like that's the framework you're making decisions and creating things in, I think what ends up happening is you end up becoming a bit of a shepherd among sheep. I think you end up attracting those who are lost, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the only thing that builds strong, good community, like ones you actually want to be a part of, is the community itself.
Yeah. Okay. So like, as you're saying that, I'm like, yo, there are people who need to be told what to do, and there are people who are like, let's say, whole and strong within themselves, and then they gather together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The latter is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with the former either. In fact, the guided market in the hot cold space is huge. I'd say probably bigger than Tality, but it's just not what we do, and we've come to terms with that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So like, what are some really dope conversations, or like any conversations that you really remember having with people in your space?
Oh, yeah.
Because you guys do you do those like community nights, right?
We've done lots of different events and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like honestly, I've actually had like a lot of like I'd call powerful experiences with customers. Like I remember one time at shipyards, I was just like, I don't know what I was doing. I was just there. And this lady, she comes up to me and she's like, thank you so much for creating the space. Like I've just had a really tough time lately. And then she starts crying and she like hugs me. And she's just like so grateful that she has a space to just exist and hot cold cycle and feel good with like-minded people. When we first
What did it feel like for you though in that moment to get that?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really cool to get feedback like that. And then when we first opened the secret location, we got a really powerful DM from somebody. And I was actually hosting that session, so I remember her. And I'm not going to read it word for word, but she basically said she'd really been, similar tale, she'd really been struggling the past few months, and she did use the word suicidal ideation. And she said she came to Secret. Her friends convinced her to come. She didn't want to come, but she came, and she did 6 minutes in the cold plunge, which was like a fun little challenge we were doing at the time. And she said that experience of having people support her through that, and then her proving to herself that she could do something hard, and then the feeling she got after doing the cycle. Because if you've ever done 6 minutes in the plunge, you feel good for the rest of the day. I don't know how to explain it. Your body feels like it's just clear.
Yeah. You feel reinvigorated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she felt that. And she was just like deeply thankful that she got to have that experience during that tough time. That was really cool.
Can I double click on something there?
Yeah.
Is that you said she got to experience herself doing something hard. Like, I feel like you are going, like a space like yours is going to attract people who are in so many different places in their lives. Like, and what I mean by that is the person who is not doing so emotionally well, and then the athletes who are really pushing themselves and they're used to pushing themselves. Why do you think it's so important for individuals, even like looking back on your own journey? Like, I'm thinking like, as you're like, this woman is hugging me, I'm like, well, that's why you work those 80, 100 hours, Peter, you know? But it's like when you're thinking about like doing the hard thing, what have you learned about doing the hard thing in your own experience, in your own life? Like, why is it so valuable?
Yeah. This is a really philosophical, nuanced, almost touchy subject, I'd say. Because I think when we first started, we were big on the quote unquote intentional suffering of the activity. Now we've dialed it back a little bit. And how do I go about this? There's definitely something to be said about doing hard things. But there's also something to be said about moving through life with some level of comfort as well. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being comfortable, but I think there's a lot of benefit to being uncomfortable. But I think where I feel like cloudy in this whole conversation is I think a lot of people like don't have the choice. Like a lot of people like choosing to be uncomfortable is a privilege, you know? Like a lot of people have so many tough things that they go through that is not chosen. And it's like, who am I to look at them and be like, yeah, that's awesome. Like you're going to be a better person after. It's like, if you don't get to choose the discomfort, you'd obviously just rather not have it. But in the same breath, it's kind of like if you are in a position of being able to choose uncomfortable, challenging things, exercise the privilege. Like everybody has some level of privilege, so you may as well use yours. And there's a lot of like parallel and intertwined thoughts within that. Like I also truly believe like the hardest thing you've ever done is the hardest thing you've ever done. So it's like, yeah, don't think you're a hardo if you haven't done anything hard, you know? Like, you just don't know until you've done it.
You don't know. And then it's like, I sense so much compassion in your expression because you're holding a lot of space for both realities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting messaging to move through. Like this idea of pushing people to challenge themselves, but then also being aware that it's a privilege to be able to challenge yourself and push them through that.
And what have you learned from that privilege?
I think it's almost always good, to be honest. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like times where I've had like bad times that it didn't end up better on the other side. So, yeah, maybe celebrate the challenges. Maybe there's something about, maybe I also have another belief which is related, which is I think the good times are never as good as you think and the bad times are never as bad as you think. So maybe just going through it with a little bit of stoicism can be beneficial. Yeah.
So where are you at now in your entrepreneurial journey? Like, how are you feeling? What are you excited for?
Yeah. Well, we're opening more Tality locations, which is really exciting. And I'm really excited for the cafe in Squamish. We're opening a cafe too. That's going to be a fun, not little, fun.
Dude, that's so cool. I didn't know
project.
that. When is that aimed to be open?
March of next year.
Okay, cool.
So we've got that. We've also got 11 franchises up and coming. So in 2026, we'll probably end up, I'm hoping, opening 4 or 5 of them. And then the rest will trickle out in the years to come. We're looking at expanding the franchise out east and also down south to the States. So those are all big, fun projects. And for me, myself, I think there is work to be done in those scopes. But I think I'm personally more excited at, getting back to like building or creating something like the coffee table book or something creative within Tality or like, I don't want to say spin-off, but something to add to the ecosystem, I think excites me more. So yeah, but ultimately taking it day by day. And I think the next 6 months are going to be pretty full on for me, just like working on what we have going in the pipeline. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I was saying this to you. First of all, that's so cool. And I'm so excited to go to the coffee shop because I love coffee.
Yeah.
And if you're behind it, I'm sure it's going to look absolutely beautiful. But something I wanted to chat with you about while I still have time is like being a leader in the space, right? This is the vantage point I'm coming from. Is sometimes it's like really beautiful to like kind of break open a market because you get an opportunity for people to really see the value in it. And when they really see the value in it, like they will go and they'll do the thing, right? But then there's a different type of integrity when you are the leader in the space. You know, you brought this to the marketplace. You franchised out, quote unquote, first, right? And it's like now there's so many other cold plunges growing. And like as you continue to scale, right? How are you maintaining that like prestige or like that element of like we were always about this vibe?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the answer is simple, but also not simple, which is just staying really authentic and true to ourselves and then building from love. And I know that sounds esoteric, but I actually do believe in those words. Because what I see a lot of competitors doing is they kind of like, it almost feels like they're on the trend a little bit. So like when I see like a lot of places really focusing on the guided section of the market, which is, by the way, so like I love Othership. Like
that's what I was thinking about. Like I love Othership.
They're best
but
in
a very
class.
different vibe.
Very different vibe.
Yeah.
Best in class. They're so popular. It's an experience you have to try. But I see a lot of people trying to like copy Othership. And I think from a business perspective, it kind of does make sense because they are doing so well, but it just doesn't feel like they're trying to build like a dynasty, if that makes sense. Like they're kind of trying to just ride the wave a little bit, and I'm sure they'll do fine, but it just doesn't feel inspiring. And I feel like customers kind of pick up on that a little bit. And there's just like, this is the thing. Like I'm a big believer that, and for those of you who follow Airbnb's CEO, you might know this as well. Culture is your ultimate IP, and culture is what influences all the decisions you make. So, like, okay, let's take the drinks, for example. Like such a small detail, right? Like offering the unlimited craft drinks. But if you don't approach these decisions from a place of love for the experience, like it doesn't nobody else is going to like operate their own craft brewery with fermented tea and bubblies and offer it in unlimited amounts at their locations. But because we like love the experience, I know that when I go hot cold cycle, I want a nice bubbly cold drink that's hydrating, or like kombucha or whatever. Just a little side quip. There's tons of other like cultures where that's like a thing too. Like in Russia, in Russian banyas, like you have to drink kvass. Like, you know, it's like a thing. Like it feels innate. But then when you make these kind of decisions of offering the unlimited drinks, not from a place of love for like the cycle, like the experience, they become hard decisions to make. Like basically like, are we going to start our own craft brewery or like pay for that? It's like, it's almost like a financially irresponsible decision to make, you know, offering the unlimited drinks. But it feels right because we love the experience. And I think those little details, like basically that culture of we love this experience and we want to make decisions around it to make sure the experience is good. I think those kind of little decisions are going to make a difference in the long run.
They're the things that make it feel luxurious, right? Like what this is making me think of, like when you scale in like the coaching world, for example, when you have a lot of abundance, like abundance of resources or abundance of like these little mini courses or masterclasses, like think about the fact that you did your business coaching, right? There's all these little things that come with it where it feels like, oh my God, I'm so glad I made this decision.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you go to Tality and you're just like, I don't have to think about my shoes. I don't have to think about my robe or my towel. Like I just don't have to think about it, and I can just be spoiled for such a reasonable price.
Yeah.
It just feels so luxurious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, I think going back to this idea of like building from love, it's like if you were making decisions more, I don't know. I don't even know the way to describe it. Like maybe financially motivated. Like there is a reason why people usually charge for robes. You know, like it's just
it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Also, laundry costs a lot.
It makes sense, but for us, like because we love the experience, we don't want to like give people the option to like choose a subpar experience for them. We just want to like tell them like, look, this is like how you're going to get the most of the space. Just standard pricing. We don't want to like charge $2 here, $5 there, $6 there. Just like come in, have a good time, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, normally what I ask people is what's their advice for somebody on the other side, but you have a really cool card deck. So I'm going to get you to ask your own question. I'm going to shuffle this and let's see what, oops, that is your question. Okay, never mind, it fell too far. So I'm going to choose this one. Ooh, okay, I love that this is your question. So your last question on the ThinkSpace podcast today is, how do you feel about vulnerability? Do you embrace it or is it hard for you?
I think embracing vulnerability, it has to be hard or else you're not really truly being vulnerable. But I do think it is a good thing to embrace. I think more people need to open themselves up more genuinely and authentically. I think there's something that happens in your relationships when you become more vulnerable. I think when you're vulnerable, it basically opens the door for the other person to be more vulnerable as well. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a great thing to practice. And that kind of relates to being uncomfortable as well, right? So
if you were to give anybody advice on the other side of this, who's maybe practicing vulnerability, how can they practice a little bit of vulnerability in their day-to-day life?
Yeah, again, it's like one of those simple answers, but not simple in execution. I think just really like being honest with yourself and expressing yourself honestly. That's so easy to say, but so complex and nuanced to do. And I think only you can really figure that puzzle out for yourself.
You have to know where your edges are and how can you like inch closer to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Alrighty, Peter, where can people find you online?
Oh, yeah. Tality Wellness, at Tality Wellness on Instagram. We're on YouTube as well. I have a personal page, but I don't post anything interesting. So, yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for coming to ThinkSpace.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.